Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo, and we are on the final day of Dephemerember. And I know my video is coming out a little later today. If I'm honest, it's because I've just been really into the journal that I'm working on right now, and I took way more time yesterday to myself to just dig into working on this journal than I did to making a video. So I'm actually making this video on December 31st. So mixed media tag and urban graffiti are our prompts today. So if you've been here for a while, you will recognize this, which is the grunge box. This box has been around. I think it's had probably almost a year of spending time with me. So I think now its time is up. And so what I do with this box is it's literally where I do all my mixed media kind of techniques. So it's very graffitied. It's very spray painted, and I mean, it's got corrugation to it, so it's got that natural kind of brick mark. It's got some, thick medium stuck to it. It's very good for a background for this prompt. So I'm going to get my cardboard knife here. This is a really fun knife my husband got me. One of our projects for the kids for Christmas, one of the presents we got them, was a make-do kit to make cardboard things out of. Everything from masks to robots to moving machines, all these parts that go together. And these are some of the knives that you use, and they're specific for cutting cardboard. They have tiny serrations. So I'm going to just try to cut off the flaps. I don't know if you can see how quickly this just cuts. It's really great. So flap one, and I'm not going to use the flaps. I'm just going to use the main piece of cardboard. And this is from my Nina paper that I print on. So unruly. Okay. One to go. All right, so that leaves us with this, and then I might see if I can separate in any way this layer back here. I'm definitely going to kind of crinkle and crunch this up a bit to just kind of give it some additional distressing. So I currently live in an urban city, for sure. I live very close to Toronto, and I didn't grow up in the city. I grew up in a little village of 700 people that was mainly a retirement community, and but I like cities. I've always liked cities. I think they offer a lot more diversity and culture and just interest than living in a lot of small towns. Though I do love small towns too. There's good things about everywhere. Let's try to get this off. And my favorite kind of graffiti is the graffiti that you see on trains. And I think that it's actually mostly in large US cities where I've seen some of my favorite graffiti art, definitely Philadelphia. Philly has amazing graffiti. Baltimore too, definitely does. They're a couple of my favorite cities to begin with because they're very ripe with art and wonderful people and creativity. So I'm just pulling some of this away to kind of try to thin things down. And then also I might take advantage of some of the corrugation that we have going on back here. Okay. Alright, I think we've got a decent spot to pull this up to separate it from the painty front now. Okay. I'm not going to need this whole thing, but I figure I'll try to get it off if I can. Some of the medium at the bottom here is sticking through the layers, and that just means that it was probably a wetter medium and it just really saturated this box. So we'll start from another end. Try to get the same layer here. Okay. And then this corner. The thing I've learned about any process like this, the most important thing that you can do to make it successful is to take your time, which arguably can be difficult. Okay. And this is the last spot that's the most difficult there. There she goes. Okay. Alright, so now we have all this fun corrugation to play with. And then some that even has like some paper stuck to it, which is kind of cool. But I'll set that aside for now. Look what we have. This is really great. So we're making a tag today. So I might try to find my sort of favorite spot, and I think it might be here because we've got a little bit of stuck on thick medium, lots of kind of bleeding, some spraying, lots of good stuff going on. So I think I'll take like this side. I'll just tear that off. And we'll set the rest of this aside. And then trim this down to an appropriate size. And that'll go with my scraps. And then we'll need to back this with something a little thicker. And I've got a nice little folder here. Okay. Let's just go ahead and get it backed to kind of give us a start. Now, some of what has been done here already is like, you know, the mixed media has been done for me. So I've got to think about what do I want to do to make this kind of a mixed media fun piece. And I have a bit of an idea, I think. I want to do something a little experimental. Okay. I'm not going to quite cut this out yet. I'm just going to leave it as is. Also, I found a pointless but good hack. So I've lost the cap for my glue. So what do? You just bring it down a little bit. And you can use a nice piece of masking tape, and that will keep it hydrated until you've used it up in case you lose your top of your glue. So I need a few things. Something to create that more mixed media feeling. I think we've got the graffiti feeling really already, but I want to try to add to it with a little bit more. So I'm going to grab a few materials. Okay, so I'm back with a bunch of stuff, and I've had a little bit of time to think. And so, you know, I think what makes like urban spaces and graffiti in urban spaces so cool is that it's usually representative of the community, of a collective, of a cooperative environment that we all live in, sometimes in tighter quarters, but also it's full of like culture and the rich, you know, differences that we all bring to the same table. And one of the best examples I think of that are like community gardens and community art spaces, make spaces, outdoor theater spaces, those places that make a city really have, you know, a heart. And so what I want to depict today, I think, is the kind of graffiti that would accompany that kind of a community, like a community garden, where you might have, you know, like kind of, you know, a mixed environment. So what I've done is I've grabbed a few things. So another part of old cities that really enthrall me are a lot of the old signs and advertisements that get left behind on old buildings that have since become, you know, like those buildings that they get turned into like loft and art spaces. But what they used to be are, you know, mills or factories or, you know, things like that. Nowadays, even places like garment houses and that kind of thing get repurposed into living spaces, creating spaces. And so, yeah, that's kind of where my brain is. Like, I'm thinking of all of the interesting, very alive communities in Toronto, where we have graffiti that just lives inside of that whole space. So from this book, I got this book a long time ago. It's basically like, I don't know what it is. It was $1, and it's like a Japanese book, and it's essentially all about like a lot of different garden kind of topics, but it's got a real mixed style feel to it. Like, there's a lot of graffiti in it also. It's I've used this book forever. If I ever find another copy of it, I will be happy because it's a great book. I should look it up to learn a little more about it, but I grabbed 3 things from it. One is these screen print looking images of veggies. The next is this interesting, there's a little kid here with like a cat mask on that's facing away from us toward like this potential unicorn here in the bushes. And then this, of all of these, to me, like one of the most fun, fascinating things about going to cities, especially like if you go in downtown Toronto, if you ever, you know, go to like the fashion district on Queen Street or even like the financial district on Bay Street, you're going to see so many walks of life, just different people, but also fashion. Urban fashion and style is going to be a part of that experience, because you're going to see so many people from young to old who just, they all have their own lives, right? Their own personalities. And not to say that we don't all, but like you're just seeing a lot more people when you're in a city, right? So you get a much richer experience. So I've got all these different kind of ladies, some leaves and things to bring in that community garden feel. And so I'm going to get started. I also grabbed this coffee cup stamp because I feel like coffee and cafes are part of what keep a lot of us running. And so I think we can bring all those things together. So now I think I'm going to just cut this down. I'm going to try to keep it in its kind of rough shape that it's in. So that we're not too precious about the shape of it. I want to keep the kind of grungy edge that I created when I was ripping it. Okay. And then in terms of the shape of this tag, what do we want to do? If I think kind of urban, I want to do something a little different. I'm just going to experiment with something here. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so this kind of gives me the feeling of like an old building on the top. Okay. I was thinking about stamping and then realized I wanted the reverse, not the stamp of things. Okay, so I think first I will take apart these chipboard pieces. Today's video should just be called, like, you know, deconstructing cardboard, because that's essentially what I've spent a good time doing. But that's okay. So let's just be a little mindful here. These usually come apart quite easily. That's one. And then this one. Okay. Can we get one more layer off there? I think we can, yeah. A lot of times when I take these apart, they're like really, they're shaped like a window or something, so I keep these, but I'm not going to bother, I don't think, keeping those. Obviously you could, and you could make something fun with them, but a little, once you get a little bit of the cardboard off, it's pretty easy to peel it. The front of these are kind of, I don't want to say plasticized, but like they've been lacquered in some way so that they are quite strong. I don't really get too concerned about tearing them. Okay. And so you don't even really have to use a knife, you can just tear them. Okay, so now I'm going to come in and layer these down in random places here on the tag. Oops, my glue is a little cloggy. There we go. Let's just unclog the glue. So let me know what you're doing for New Year's Eve. I am planning to make lasagna, as I always do on New Year's Eve, and hang out with my family. Probably watch the ball drop at some point, and maybe play some games or something. We'll do something fun. I think today we might have a break from rain, which would be great, because I'm very tired of rain. Okay. Sort of wondering if I should have left this part till a little bit later in the process, because I have lots of things I want to add on here. So what I might do is keep one aside. I'll accept that I have these here, but this will give me a little space. So the next thing that I want to do is I just want to cut him out, this little kid here, because, you know, part of graffiti is not just the, you know, the letters and the tags that you're used to seeing, but it's like mural type art. And I think that, like, the kind of graffiti I like the most is that blended, like, people who've done some tagging, people who've done some mural, like, you know, none of it has necessarily been, like, commissioned by anyone, but maybe it has, because the thing about graffiti is, what a lot of people don't realize is that it is, in fact, a completely authentic and, when given an opportunity, a real art form. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of refining your style like any artist to have your own signature, even if that signature is like it's done in tagging, like tagging trains and that kind of thing. There's a very cool and rich history behind all of that, and I'm always interested in it, as well as like interested in people who are travelers that have hopped trains and that kind of thing. I mean, obviously it's a very dangerous lifestyle, but it's one that I find really fascinating. If you're unaware of Abby the Spoon Lady on YouTube, check her out, because she's a really good person to kind of like speak on all of that, because she's had experience with it. And I'm always fascinated by her. So yeah, see, this is where I want the hand to probably go under here. So I'm just going to peel this up a little. That's the thing, is like nothing is unfixable. We'll be able to glue it right back down. So yeah, I want this cat mask kiddo down there. I want it to sit right here, I think. Yep. So we just gotta let that go under there. Perfect. Okay, fun. Then I'm gonna go in with these. So I'm gonna take the sweet peas and the onion. That can go in the scraps. This is a little hard to fussy cut, but not too bad. And I'm going to let the green kind of be a part of the overall design. I can also spray this if I want to. To add some color. But I might just let it live as it is. Okay, there's one. Some of the coolest like graffiti that I've seen, I was saying in Philly, I love the city of Philly so much. Like it's there's this really fascinating artist, and I completely forget his name, which is silly. I should have thought of it before coming to this space to talk about him, but I don't know if it's still there. I hope it is. He had this really big like building that was also like a built-in installed like art exhibit, and it's all mosaic, and it's called something like the Land of Dreams or something like that. I can't remember, but he's very prolific. I feel like his name is Moses something, and he built this whole, he's a mosaic artist, which is awesome, because I actually used to do a ton of mosaic art myself. I used to build clocks, and I called them smash clocks, and they were built from wood. I would build them, and then I would use like all sorts of broken china and stained glass to cover the outside of them, and it made these really beautiful clocks. You know, if any of you have been around for like the very early years of my art, you would remember them, I'm sure, but I was not on YouTube back then, so probably it's a very different audience here. But I also used to make clocks that I called paper clocks that were all done in what I refer to as paper mosaic, which now I would probably think of as decoupage. But my artist statement at that point was more about putting things like together. You know, taking things, found objects was another big part of my work, and it was like making something from nothing is one thing that I really enjoy doing, and I still really enjoy doing that. It's a really guiding principle in my work. But also like taking things that you otherwise wouldn't really see as artistic necessarily, or they're broken or damaged, and then, you know, putting them into something that is again artful. And yeah, so I think like that whole spirit of like reuse has always really influenced me. I'm gonna cut out this middle section too, because I want this to have a bit of an organic feel. I was just going on about this little gyro knife. It's so cool. I love this thing. Okay, it's called the Gyro Cut, and it's just really great. It's like a little razor knife that can turn, so you can really easily cut out things like that without having to deal with scissors. Okay, so now let's go back into the piece here. And when I was playing with this, I kind of liked how this looked where I dropped it. So I feel like I might try to put that like there. And then this, I want it to be a little away, and it can override him a little bit. I'm okay with that. So let's go ahead, and we're gonna have to lift this again. It's okay, no worries. And I will glue this side of this. Like there. I'll have to lift this one as well. Yeah, I really should have put these on last, but it's okay, because I'm not sure that I'd even get the same composition if I had done that. They might have seemed kind of interruptive to the process, right? So it's okay. And I know I need to lift this side. But I think I've always worked also in mixed media, or just a lot of different types of art all the time, a lot of mediums. So I think that's why like paper art has really appealed to me, because it is a lot of different available media. You can do a lot of different types of projects too. Like, you know, maybe, I don't know, I look at it almost like if you compare it to like working or having a job, it's nice to have variety in the tasks that you do. And that's something that I find with this, is like there's a lot of variety in the tasks that we do. So we need a few of these girls here. Not too many of them, but a couple. I'm gonna go with her because I love her her nose. I'm just going to cut all around to see what I'm going to need. So she's been selected, and one more, I think. I like her. I might go with her. And we have the others available if we need more. But for now, I'm going to cut out the little branches that they're sitting on, as well as the ones they're holding on to with the leaves. And I like how these could have, like they might have been painted by children as well as, you know, adults. You don't really even know. And I know that I'm expanding on the topic of urban graffiti, but urban graffiti can be, you know, a lot of things. And like graffiti itself is more defined as like, usually it's associated with, you know, being illegal or something, but it isn't always. And I really like that a lot of cities embrace that youth have different ways of expressing themselves, and we can nurture people by giving out opportunities to different kinds of artists, including graffiti artists, you know, to enrich our cities and to make them just overall more interesting. I think like you end up with a much better environment when you just Don't fight everything that you maybe don't necessarily understand, or maybe you try to take a different viewpoint on things that you think are a crime or harmful to decide if there's actually a victim or not, you know. And then you can give opportunities to people like graffiti artists to be able to participate and be paid for work in the community, sharing their expression, instead of, like, you know, tagging people's homes and businesses and that kind of thing. It's like skateboard parks. You know, I think for the longest time, so many urban environments were like putting up all of these annoying, like, bars and curbs and things to try to curb kids from skateboarding. And then finally they realized, like, why don't we just build a skateboard park, you know, a facility where we can let them celebrate doing what they enjoy doing. And I think that's a really important part of connecting in a community, is understanding that, like, sometimes perhaps you're not familiar with certain things, but that doesn't make them wrong, even if maybe you were taught they were wrong. That's how we grow, is, like, you know, learning that, like, not everything you were taught necessarily was right. And, like, it's time to think beyond that and figure out what these kind of activities mean to other people. Because there are certainly real bad behaviors out there to be concerned about. And I think I don't sweat the small stuff these days. I'm not sure that I ever really did a whole lot, to be honest. I just kind of believe that everyone can kind of coexist, and that, yes, sometimes impacts will happen, but in the grand scheme of all the things wrong in the world, something like graffiti does not even find its place on a scale for me. I do not really have concern. Okay. So now we have these two, and I need to put them in a space that will let them be seen. I think I'm going to trim this to look a little more natural. So we'll thin it out like that and make it a little sharp on the end, so it looks like it's kind of more naturally a branch that breaks or ends. That there, I think. Maybe her over here. And I'm going to want to put her legs under here, I think. These poor things, how they have put up with me. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I want. So now we'll come in with this glue. Oops. Just graffiti this with glue. The other thing I have to do this morning is a little grocery shopping, which I'm not looking particularly forward to. Hoping that everybody else was smarter than me and did theirs yesterday. I forgot to pick up a few things that I need for my New Year's dinner, though. So the glue is making a cool mark on this. And I don't even know why, but I'm pretty happy about it. And I actually put the excess there. That's fun. Okay. Then this one. Okay, so we wanted her feet under here. Not that, like so. Okay. Yep. Put a little bit of the leaf over top of the sign. That's cool. Okay, so that mostly I think is what I need. So I'm going to now glue these chipboards back down. Just give this a little press. Okay. So tell me, what have you enjoyed about Dephemerember? Have you found any new channels to follow? Did you learn any cool techniques, or did you have any like big brain moments where you were like, oh wow, I never thought of that, I want to experiment with it? I would love to know how you have felt during this time. Okay, so this is all glued down now. And I do have crackle paste hanging around, and I was thinking of like, it's translucent crackle paste. I was thinking of covering this whole entire thing in translucent crackle paste because it would like bring it all together, but I don't know. And also this stuff, you cannot dry it fast at all. So I don't think I will use it in this particular project because I really want to kind of finish this project and not have to wait for it to dry. But we will play with it another day. I think it honestly, the translucent, it's nice when you're using something that's colored and wet to begin with anyways. So let's just get all these little scraplets out of here. Then see what we have here. Okay, I now need my stamp, which is this, and some ink, and I don't want this 7 days plan part. I just want the coffee cups. So we'll get those and decide maybe here. There's some coffee cups, good. And maybe some more down here. Perfect. And then a few more up here. Yeah, I kind of like this sort of, city vibe feeling of coffee cups in the background. Yep, that's what I want. All right. So then I think that the most important thing now to kind of make this whole thing come up is some black soot ink, which I need to find in my stack of inks here. I need to reorganize these. There it is. All of these away. Okay. Then get that correct dauber. Here it is. I just want to have like a nice strong line around. Oh, this is the soft dauber. Hold on, where's the harder one? There it is. Okay. Oops, missing a little glue on this one. There we go. And who knew that this is what would ever become of my grunge box? I think I need to order paper, so I'll probably end up using the same box top again, although I do have a little one that I'm going to start using for now, but okay. And I don't think we're going to need this one. I don't want to put it on there, so I'll just keep it aside in my bits and bobs. So that is my project for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made you think about, how urban centers connect and communicate through different forms of expression and how we can do really fun things together, like create community gardens. Yeah, so thank you for joining me for Dephemerember. I've had a lot of fun during this whole time, and I'm really looking forward to creating with you in the new year. So take care, everyone. Bye for now.